Hey, and welcome to Podcast on Wheels, powered by Power Loops. Today, we've got a special guest, Miss Anna Kubic, in the studio. And Anna is from the area. We've known each other for a while, and we brought Anna in today because, she's a special person in our world. She's a leader. And so, Anna, going back to maybe high school, what prompted you to be who you are?
I would definitely say the shift kind of took a turn, more so COVID. I know COVID was definitely an eye-opener for a lot of people to kind of change their lifestyle, how they're living. And for me, I guess you could definitely say COVID was where it was the little seed that's planted to basically grow into what I am today and who I am going to become, obviously, because I'm still pretty young.
Right.
So I have so much more learning and so much more experiences to go through in life. But definitely high school after COVID.
Okay.
I would say.
What were some of the things that changed for you experiencing that? So what was was it friends? Was it opportunities? Was it the way you looked at things? What kind of changed for you?
I would have to say not really friends. I didn't really experience the whole friend group change until after high school.
Right.
But it was more so, okay, this is going to sound really bad, but after COVID hit, I was a straight A student. I was working my butt off. I was like, I need to get this grade. I need to do this to be successful. I was doing anything and everything in my power to get good grades in high school. And honestly, that's fine. And that's completely understandable. Mm-hmm. Typically, that's what parents put on their kids. And so that's who I was. And then COVID hit, and I guess I just lost my drive and motivation for everything.
Okay.
And so I just kind of fell into this slump. And then going back to school after COVID, passed.
Right.
I just didn't really have a passion or drive to get the best grade anymore. I was kind of just going through the motions. And then that's where my love and passion for fitness began. And so I also learned that in being super passionate about fitness, that's where I became hyper fixated on certain aspects of my life. And that's where I guess you could say my whole entire fitness, not really phase, because I still am very much in the gym.
Right.
I work out. Right. I still maintain a very strict and healthy lifestyle. But it's more so that's where my whole entire, again, passion, need, and drive for everything kind of started and originated.
Awesome. So COVID kind of maybe detoured the A student, and then you were able to find a passion in the fitness. So you were on stage maybe once or twice, right? Or a few years ago, or tell us. I'm joking. Please tell us what you did. That's impressive.
So I know you're referring to bodybuilding and my prep and then my show. I actually started prep at 17 years old because you're not allowed to compete in the NPC until you're minimum 18 years old.
Okay.
So I started prep, I want to say a few years back, but it was in not February, but April, May, that kind of time frame. March, April, May, somewhere in that range. I can't remember the exact dates, obviously.
That's good.
But I started prep kind of towards the end of my senior year of high school. I was like, I want to do something for myself. And plus, I was super motivated in the fitness world, and I just needed something to kind of bring me to the next level.
Right.
I mean, I've been in sports my whole life. I've done gymnastics, I've done cheer, and I just really try to excel in everything in that aspect. And so working out for already 2 years prior or a year prior, I got to a point where this is dull. I want something to elevate it. And so I ended up talking to a friend of a friend, and then I became introduced to the bodybuilding world. And then that's where I found my coach, my posing coach. And it actually was a lot of fun. And then I went through just a briefly overview. We can get into specifics if you want.
Sure.
But I did a 5-month prep for my show. And then I actually got on stage twice, and they were back-to-back weeks.
Okay. I have heard of people doing that. What would that benefit, doing back-to-back shows like that? Because
it was more so just because my body was very immature, because you go through your first prep, you want to see how your body reacts to a diet, your body reacts to cardio, excessive cardio. I remember during it, we call it, there's peak week, and then there's hell week, and hell week is the week before peak week.
Right.
And that's where you're doing a lot of cardio, your carbs, and just a lot of food is restricted, but that's mainly to deplete your body before you carb up before your show. But doing back-to-back shows, I was in the Nashville Fit Show. That is the biggest all-women's national show, and the pros come, they compete on stage. And it was honestly such a fun experience. But that show before the Alabama State show, which was the main show I had planned, it was mainly just for experience because I've been on stage before for cheer, cheer competitions.
Sure.
You have to, put on a smile. You have to bring that stage presence. You really have to perform. And so it was kind of just that first show for me was, okay, let's get the feel of a stage. Let's get the feel of walking in heels. You're literally wearing a very small bikini. So let's get the feel of just being in this position and learning how to go through the poses, learning how to smile, audience work, just kind of stuff like that with your facial expressions. So just kind of being more introduced to the stage aspect of being in a show, I guess that was the whole reason for my first show. Just experience.
Perfect.
Simplistic. I know I just want to explain everything, but
no, I like it.
Simplistic is experience.
I got you. So by doing that first show, and then you go do a very impressive show in Nashville. And I wasn't able to go this past year or the last year, but you come back to Alabama, and then how did that show go?
Are you talking about after the Nashville Fit show? So I come back after the Nashville Fit show, and I was already on cloud 9 because I won a couple categories. I did get 4th in open. I mean, I'm not complaining. To me, that's even amazing that I qualified for open for show.
For that show, yes.
So I was very ecstatic about that. But coming back, I was even more pumped and more excited about my second show because if I knew that I was able to compete at that level with that, I guess you could say, multitude of people and that many experienced girls.
Right.
I feel I was just on cloud 9, like, all right, let's get this. I was hungry for it. I was ready. I was like, put me on stage. I want to go through. I just wanted to pose and smile. I think my favorite part about prep was posing. So just wanting to be up on stage and performing, going through all that. It was definitely something I wanted more than anything. But it also, the second show, I will definitely say I was more focused because the first show, get the jitters out, get the nerves out.
Right.
And so I didn't really know a lot about what to do backstage. But the second show I was more reserved, more quiet, more kind of focused on what am I about to do? Because for me, it was definitely an experience. I went in with the mentality, I don't even care what I place, just because of the fact that I know I'm going to be better next year. Or I know I'm going to be better than I was the first show I performed in. But my body was also peaked out. So I know that I would look the best at the second show.
Step into the future with Power Loops, the king of off-grid power, where our proprietary system is changing the game of energy. This isn't just power, it's freedom. The freedom to live, work, and play anywhere, powered by our innovative technology that taps into the Earth's natural energy. Our system is designed for efficiency, durability, and sustainability, ensuring that you have reliable power 365 days a year without harming the planet. Whether you're traveling in the RV, the remote wilderness, or just opting out of traditional power grids, Power Loops provides the ultimate solution. Join us in leading the charge towards a cleaner, greener, and more empowered world. Power Loops, the king of off-grid energy. That's amazing. That's impressive that to get that momentum carrying into the next show, because some people would get deterred by the fourth in place or not, so kudos to you for that. So I'm hearing kind of a theme here though, because, COVID may have detoured and then you come back here and then the fitness brings you here. And now knowing kind of what you're doing now and enjoying the prep, the details of the bodybuilding, how has that prompted you, into sales positions and what you're doing now? So.
Right. So I have a lot of mentors in the sales industry. Obviously, I like to talk. And people always say, especially growing up in high school, I don't know what I want to do in college. I don't know what I want to major in. I don't know what I want to be for the rest of my life. To backtrack a little bit before I even go to explain how I got into sales, in 8th grade, I remember taking a class. It was called Career Pathways or something along the lines of that, where we try to figure out what we want to do. And that's where I had my heart dead set on medical. And I was like, I'm going to be an orthopedic surgeon or at least in the physical industry because I've done sports my entire life or I did some type of physical activity. So that's what I wanted to go into. I was like, that's my purpose, right? And then all going throughout high school, medical academy was fun. And then when I got to college, I majored in biology. I loved it, but I still had that question that they would always ask me in high school: find your purpose, take what you're good at, and then make that into a career. And so I said, well, how can I do this medically? Because I mean, if I was a brain surgeon, I would need, steady hands. And so I know I don't have steady hands, especially because I drink a lot of caffeine.
Okay.
And so, but I just kind of took something as super simple as I like to talk. Yeah. I'm a very extroverted, outgoing person.
Right.
And so that kind of led me into more so networking, I guess you could say. And then I had a friend who also used to live in Huntsville. He lives in Miami now.
Okay.
He actually told me, he said, why don't you just try sales? And so that got me into a whole rabbit hole that I'm in now. And it's an amazing rabbit hole because it got me into the sales industry. It got me learning objection handling, kind of all this, that, and the other. But what really drives me, especially what carried from bodybuilding over into sales, is the discipline. Because I remember going back to bodybuilding. I remember when I sometimes would wake up, I had a cheat meal the night before. I would wake up at 3 a.m, absolutely irritated, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm spilling over. Yeah. I gained too much weight, because it is about, dropping weight, dropping body fat. I gained too much weight. I would go to the gym at 24E at 3 a.m. and do cardio. So it's more so just that discipline to make sure I'm on track. And being in the sales industry, following up with clients, or even learning more sales tactics, more so objection handling. Anybody can always, improve on their objection handling. So always training, I would say. Falling in love with the journey and falling in love with training has definitely become one of my center motives, because I fell in love with prep more so than I did the show. Don't get me wrong. I loved the show in bodybuilding. Sure. Loved it. But I fell in love with prep. I always think back like, oh my gosh, how much I miss prep. Just being on that strict schedule, strict diet, knowing what I'm going to do every single day, when I'm going to the gym, when I'm going to eat, knowing that was honestly controlled chaos, and I loved it. And that's where I thrived. Right. So trying to keep that schedule now in the sales industry, especially like, okay, wake up, go to the gym, do cardio and sauna at 5 a.m., come home, be ready to take sales calls by 8 a.m., work up until however long, or say I have a little gap in my schedule. Okay, now I can eat, go to the gym and do more cardio, because we can't work out. But I can do more cardio, or and then come home, take more sales calls. It's more so just knowing my schedule and having that drive and making that controlled chaos environment for myself, so I know that I can thrive in, if that makes sense. No,
it absolutely does. Because in a similar way, I can think back to when I ran a marathon. And after I ran the marathon, I was kind of like, oh, that was it, because I enjoyed the training side. I enjoyed the prep to get there. When you got to the event, it's kind of like that. That was fun. Right. And I appreciate finishing, but yeah, at the training part. So, what are you doing now? What are you doing now in sales and opportunities? I know you had meetings right before you came to do this show. Yes. We've had to adjust to accommodate. So you're a very busy young lady. So what all do you have going on right now with the?
So I don't like to go too in depth of what I'm doing right now, but if I'm going to cover it, it's basically, I worked in the solar industry when I lived in Ohio. Okay. If you didn't know, I lived in about 6 to 8 months. Right. Not a lot of people knew about that, but I did solar, and then transferring kind of over to Alabama. I knew that solar was not something I wanted to do in Alabama, especially because, the tax credit. Yeah. It's completely different. It's different. And so I work for companies who sell high ticket offers, so high ticket sales. They're selling $10, $15, $20, $25, $30,000 offer. Right. And so obviously they don't need people who are just, BSing, oh, I have the money, like this and the other. They need to qualify either potential leads or potential prospects, clients. Right. And so I work on their sales team, and I actually work as an independent contractor. Cool. So I sign them as one of my clients, and they sign me on to work on their sales team. So that's what I do now. And it's actually a lot of fun because I do it remote. So I get to dress, business attire on top and then pajamas on the bottom. So I got you. That's cool. It's definitely comfortable. That's cool. Like I'm wearing slippers right now. Nice. So I love it. But I do all of that aspect more so remote. And so that's what I like doing it because I meet a lot of people, especially over the phone. And I do wish that I had more of that face-to-face contact like I did in the solar industry. But I will say people are apparently more receptive and more open to telling about themselves when they don't know who you are. Just because they know that they understand that you're trying to help them, and they understand, or maybe they don't understand it and you need to help them understand. And
or maybe you got better at listening and they're better at,
yes.
And you're evolving. So I hear that in you though, but for knowing you for a few years and when you communicate and seeing that, so I'm applauding you right now. Okay. And your evolution of, you're going to hear things you didn't hear in person.
Right.
In the other profession, or, the motivation that I'm hearing from you and the details and everything that you've got going on. So, once you get, this business and they do a contract, you get the contract, and I get it because we do a lot of that here. Hey, I'll help you. We help each other. We don't ask friends for discounts. We do not do that. We take care of friends' businesses, right? We're not, hey, you have a business, hook me up. No, we don't do that anymore. So, but tell us about, because the common theme I've heard throughout this entire show has been the relationships. So as you come into this year and you're looking at, where do you want to be? And every day you're getting better and you're becoming a better everything, right?
Right.
Everything. So what are maybe some changes or goals or what are some things you've done? Because I kind of know and I'm impressed. Okay. I kind of know and I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
So, and I think that needs to be shared.
So I'm actually really glad you asked that, because this 2024 for me, I keep on telling myself this, especially throughout the entire month of January, it's the year for elevation in every aspect. 2023, I learned a lot about myself. I went through trials and tribulations. And so I kind of experienced some things here and on another end. Yeah. So I definitely got to learn more about myself. But now 2024 is the year where I implicate those better habits. I implicate those better time schedules, more time management. Something as simple as I dedicate every Sunday afternoon. If I do have calls, I'll take my calls, but I dedicate every Sunday afternoon to strictly cleansing, whether that's cleaning my room, cleaning my bathroom, meal prepping for the week. I know that's something so simple, and a lot of people are like, oh, I probably already do that. But really dedicating that time to just as maybe a personal detox, or being more by yourself, more isolated, just because I learned, since I am a very outgoing person, isolating myself, I'll learn a lot about myself, and I'm able to change more stuff about myself, like the habits. I want, like you said, a goal. I want to read at least 15 books this year. Okay. And so I'm already 2.
Good.
I'm already good for 2.
Good.
And so I found a new passion of, I love reading, especially when I'm sitting at home, whether that's my Bible or whether that's an actual entrepreneurial book.
Right.
Something like, a super basic book everybody knows, 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
Or The Laws of Human Nature. So just something as simple as that, or even other goals, financial goals. I have a lot of financial goals I want to hit this year, especially because I am looking to travel. I am looking to get an apartment, all these different things. And so I'm looking to seriously support myself. So a lot of financial goals, and I have deadlines. It's like, okay, Anna, you got to hit this by this month. You have to read this many books by this month. And it really, having that deadline, like in bodybuilding, having that deadline for the show, hey, your show is this day, you better be ready. So having that deadline saying, and it's not like the world's going to end on that deadline, but it's more so believing that that deadline is an important day for you. Okay, this goal has to be reached by then. Or it's something like, I want to be more self-aware this year, or I want to be more, let's say, real with myself.
There you go.
I want to acknowledge more of my faults so that way I can change. And just really getting to know more about yourself and learning about who you are as a person can help you understand or change certain aspects. Because I am still young. I do have that immaturity still. Well. So it's more so just understanding that, realizing it, and figuring out where should that be shifted, where should that be changed, honestly.
So there's one thing that I would like to point out, because there's in our businesses, and this is the order that I say them, is faith, fitness, family, and then finance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I put fitness second is because I feel like you said, maybe you take that time to be by yourself. So fitness, mental fitness, health fitness, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciated that part of the story there, where you're taking time for you.
Right.
You know, because I think you and I are both outgoing people, and sometimes it's scary to get by yourself because you don't really want to find out what's going on, because I'd rather talk to somebody else.
Right.
I get it. So, but, you know, you also mentioned in there that you're reading books. And so from a faith perspective in the Bible, and are there any other, you know, faith stories or Bible stories or anything that you would like to share with us? Because those are my favorite.
I actually would, which is absolutely amazing. There's this one story that happened actually last year. I told you I went through a lot of trials and tribulations in 2023. And this one specific story is kind of the reason why, if you see me in the gym, you don't see me really work out. I'm just doing cardio or core or sauna. I was in a car wreck, my very first car wreck ever last year.
Okay.
In May, but and that's a whole story within itself. But the faith aspect of that story was, you asked me before this podcast.
Sure.
You said, I noticed you're in California.
Right.
I was in California for a month, but we were on our way out. I was with a couple of friends, and the person that I was riding with in the car, we got to Arizona. So we did 23 hours on the road from Tuscaloosa to Arizona.
Right.
And we got to Arizona that night. And so 2 of our other friends left early that morning to continue the last 4 hours of the trip to get to Orange County. But it was me and 2 other people stayed in Arizona. And so we went to brunch that day. Okay. Woke up late, went to brunch. It was a Sunday. And so actually, it was really funny. It was a Sunday. I'm just now thinking about that. But we went to brunch, and we get back, or we're leaving, or more so. And I will say this person was, you know, going over the speed limit, and we get on the city road, and the speed limit is 40. The person driving is doing about 80. And so I was on my phone, and I was just enjoying myself. I was like, I love this weather. It's sunny, no humidity.
Right.
Just enjoying the Arizona weather. And then out of nowhere, I get, I don't know what it was, Jesus, God, an angel, one of the 3, the Holy Spirit, telling me, because I didn't have my seatbelt on, put your seatbelt on.
Okay.
And I didn't even hesitate. Not 1 second. I put it on. As soon as I clicked it, I looked up. I see the car coming, and it's like right before impact. And so where we got T-boned, actually, and where we got T-boned is right where I was sitting, which is kind of the reason why I can't really work out as of right now. I'm doing a lot of physical therapy, and I have another appointment coming up. It's a very important appointment, but where I specifically was sitting, we got T-boned.
Here at Smith Financial Services, we take care of small business owners, 1099 contract workers, and their families. We know insurance can be rough if you're a small business owner, so we are here to make things easy. Visit our website, smithfinancial.services, to learn more.
All right. So, Anna, you had the accident, and you look back at that time, and in 2024, your faith may be a little, but did you have a time period where you questioned your faith with the accident?
I'm going to be honest. When that accident happened, I fell more in love with God, just because I was thankful. I literally wanted to get on my hands and knees and cry and say, thank you so much for filling me with the Holy Spirit to tell me to put my seatbelt on, because Lord knows where I would be right now if I didn't have that seatbelt on. So I didn't get mad at God, and I never questioned him or what his plan is, because like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So I just became more in love with knowing about him and knowing what his plan is for me. So that way, like moving forward, if I have problems, I can go to him. Because even when I was a lukewarm Christian, or even when I was falling off, not really falling off my faith, but not really giving the time and dedication I should be to God or Jesus. And so just in that time frame, I became, I guess you could say, obsessed with learning. Like I said, you have to become in love with learning, the training, the journey, everything about that before the end destination. So becoming absolutely fully immersed in the word of Jesus just was amazing because I turned more to him for everything. Ever since that wreck happened, he was my go-to. Something bad happened. Jesus, please help me take care of this. Please help me get through these rough waters. So being in that situation made me actually want to turn to him more because he protected me and he saved me. And
that's, God, I love that story. And I'm glad you were listening. I'm glad you put the seatbelt on so that you could be here with us today. So thank you, God, and thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
But, you know, we've hit a lot of topics here, and the common theme that I'm hearing is you've always turned, you know, you never turned away from God, but it might have maybe prompted you to be a little more involved and immersed, as you said. So, you know, a lot of people that we're talking to right now on the show, as we've talked about in the intermission, was a lot of people have talked about that with me recently. And it's just a different energy around those type people as well, you know, and it's you don't have to wonder, you know, well, where are they coming from? What's their motives? Why are they trying to do this business? What are they doing over here? And when you start to get, as you develop this, and this hopefully maybe a little bit of experience talking, it'll become a lot easier to say, okay, wow, now look what God can do with us and that network, which like the church that we go to at the Highlands, one of my favorite things about that church, the business side, they have zero debt, right?
They mentioned that in the service, what was it, 2 weeks ago? That was the first service I brought my parents to. Actually, I invited them to go to church with me.
Awesome.
And my mom even talked about it. She loved it. I think they said they donated $147 million
You're exactly right.
to missions.
Yes.
And they are not one penny in debt.
Right.
That is fantastic.
And how many? 23, 24 locations now, and a new one in Huntsville. It's like,
yep.
So that's amazing. That's amazing. And that's, you know, to be a size of that network. And now we just, the serve team, the dream team, the different things that are available there. So, Anna, we could keep going on and on and on and on and on. But is there one thing, is there a quote, is there a favorite scripture? Is there something that you want to look in the camera and just maybe share with people to maybe help them or motivate somebody?
I would definitely say I'm going to go ahead and just share more so my life verse because it is what has helped me get further in life. And especially when I'm feeling these hard times, these tribulations, I always look at my life verse, and it's Matthew 16:25. And he basically, I don't know it word for word just
That's
because
fine.
it is
That's
pretty
fine.
wordy,
That's
but
fine.
It just talks about him saying in the verse, if you give up your life for me, you'll be able to find it. So if you lose, I don't know, Matthew 16:25, it's like if you lose your life for me, you will find it. Basically,
Yes.
Give up your life for me, give up everything, take up your cross, walk with me. That's basically what that entire section talks about. And it was more so talking about the prodigal son. And that's where I looked and I said, I'm the prodigal son. And so I need to turn back to Jesus. And that is my life verse. So if you just give, especially more so because I am growing in my faith, giving up all your problems, worries, giving up everything that is holding you down, just saying, you know what, Jesus, I'm gonna let you handle this. Taking up that cross and walking with him, giving your life to him. And it's not just, oh, I give my life to him, I'm getting baptized, I'm going to understand him more. Cool, whatever.
Right.
No, it's more so get to know why you're giving your life for him. It's understand why he loves you, understand his love for you so you can share it with others.
Amen.
Because when I became more solidified in my faith recently, I will definitely say I became on fire for everything. My passion, my energy, everything just elevated to a whole nother level.
Right.
And it has absolutely driven me each and every day. So I would 100% say, just get to know Jesus, even if you don't want to. Go to church with somebody. I'm not even joking. Just go to church and just feel the presence of everybody around you. It's not embarrassing. It's actually quite heartwarming.
It is. I can vouch for that. So as we wrap up, Anna, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
And I appreciate you hustling over between meetings and making time for us. All right. Guys, thank you for watching Podcast on Wheels.